There was a bit of Game of Thrones news this year. I think it was last year that we got the news that Blood Moon, the White
Mm,
Walker prequel, was canceled,
right.
and I think that was last
Yeah.
year. This year we got more Game of Thrones news. So the Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, we finally have
Yes.
a date as to where everything's going to start, and it's going to start on the onset of the Dance of Dragons Targaryen Civil War.
And there's been some casting news, you right?
There has also been casting news, and they are going to get. They've already given us three main people for the three main roles.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to send you the article I was looking at?
I mean, I know them, but yeah,
Oh,
I
you know
mean,
them? Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So, Olivia Cook, apparently she was in Bates Motel and Ready Player One. No
Hmm.
idea. I haven't seen her or anything. She's going to play Alicent Hightower.
Okay. Yes.
And we have Matt Smith of Doctor Who fame. He will be playing Daemon Targaryen.
I cannot think he would be a good Daemon Targaryen. He's not who I would ever pick
Really?
as no, I mean Daemon Targaryen, he's supposed to be uh handsome but ruthless, all of these different things. Um if you're going to be the rogue prince, and you're going to be this like incredibly important character, I mean, I admit Matt Smith has a lot of charm and a lot of confidence, but he's a homely guy. Like I don't know.
For I know there's a bunch of people who are usually not like American. For those of you who are confused, homely kind of means like he's not that good looking. For our non-American English
Yeah, it does.
speaking
It doesn't
viewers.
mean it doesn't mean ugly, but it means
He's
like
not that good looking.
not that
He's
good.
just all right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
homely's on the negative side, but it's not horrible. It's
who would you pick to be Daemon Targaryen? Because a lot of people floated around the guy who played Ragnar in Vikings, who also played the crazy dude in Raised by Wolves.
um, yeah, he would be great.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, anybody from the Raised by Wolves cast would have been great. They're all fantastic. Um, it's just, I mean, you could have, you could. I mean, there's a million handsome uh, British guys who can be dashing, daring, and dangerous. Like
Hmm.
there's a million of them, and they chose like the unusual looking one, and I was like, that's not. You honestly could have just thrown a rock at the acting community, which is mostly made up of really handsome men, and been fine. But instead, they chose Matt Smith. Like
Hmm.
it's a really really odd choice. Um,
Would you say maybe I've actually been waiting for him to play any Targaryen? Benedict Cumberbatch, I think that's his name.
I think he's a little too famous. I I mean I he would be fine, Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't know if I think they're all gonna look weird with the blonde hair, but I mean, the blonde hair doesn't really look good on didn't look that great on Viserys either, but it certainly didn't look very good on the Rhaegar actor they had. But I mean, it's gonna be weird anyway. But I don't know. There's you could have picked a handsome blonde British guy, and then when you turn his hair more silvery, it won't look as weird. But it's just I don't know. It's such a weird one to choose because he's a funny looking guy, and that's not what Daemon Targaryen's supposed to be, right?
Hey man, like I get he seems fine to me. Like if they're gonna play Daemon Targaryen in a different way, because we know how HBO likes to do certain Game of Thrones characters. Usually 9 times out of 10, the main characters like your Ned Starks, your Jon Snow, they're usually on point. Your
Hmm.
Cerseis, your
Yeah.
Tywins, your Tyrions. It's usually they cast the person that's usually on point. But when it comes to Daemon Targaryen, I don't think a lot of people know who Daemon Targaryen is. I'm willing to bet you there are more people who don't know who the fuck this is than there are people who know who this is. You and I who know who this is because we know the story, but a
Yeah.
majority, I would argue more than 75% of the audience for Game of Thrones have never read the books.
I would go much higher of that don't know. I mean,
Really?
David Targaryen, he's like a character who appears at the end of Fire and Blood. I mean, he's not even like, even if you've read the series, Daemon Targaryen, I don't even know. I don't think he is even mentioned in the main series. I don't think he is. Let me. I'm gonna do a quick search.
The reason I say at least 75% is because there are a lot of people who are like you who saw season 1 and they just dived into this world and read the books and every material they can get their hands on. So I guess I'm being generous with 75%.
Oh, that there's more people. No, Daemon Targaryen isn't even mentioned in the main story.
Well, regardless, the point I was trying to make is that like maybe HBO is trying to do their own version of it, not George's version. Yeah. Because they've done this before.
They're gonna lean into the sex. I mean, the weird thing about Fire and Blood is that it's told by unreliable narrators who are supposed to be unreliable, and you're supposed to look at the different perspectives of what's being said and try to piece together the truth. And so when they say like random things like, oh, this character was actually having sex with their sibling behind their back or their cousin behind their back, or there was a love affair between Rhaenyra and Kristen Cole, and you're not sure if that happened or not, well, they're gonna have it happen in HBO. It's gonna be a fuck fest. You know? all of the salacious stuff that may or may not have happened in history is going to happen on screen.
Speaking of Rhaenyra, Emma D'Arcy from Truth Seekers, don't even know who she is, never. They have a very unflattering picture of her where she has kind of like a mullet going on. Like, I don't know who this woman is. She's not who I had. I wouldn't say she's ugly. I'm not saying that at all. She's fairly good looking, but she's not who I had in mind for Rhaenyra.
Right. I mean, the pictures they have when you first Google her name, like, are do not do her justice. She's better looking, but she's definitely not who I would think of Rhaenyra as well. So like Rhaenyra is a very powerful, strong character. She is, you know, she is an ultra Daenerys. She is going to be, you know, and so the character, she kind of has a meek, sickly look to her. So we'll see what she does, you know. Like for the casting of Cersei, they picked, you know,
a virtual unknown.
Well, no, she was in the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yeah, stuff. But that's a TV thing on Fox,
and she was also in 300.
Yeah,
the point is that in her prior roles, she was this powerful woman, and so I mean I haven't seen Emma D'Arcy in her other stuff, but I'm just going basic on her picture. But she looks a little meek, but we'll see if she can, you know, punch through. I mean, these are professional actors, so I'm gonna say that they can all do their job, you know. So, but based on looks, it's a little weird, all of it. Honestly, definitely Matt Smith is. I mean, we're going from the weird one to like one that's not as weird, so it's like it's tough. Like Matt Smith, that's a really fucking weird choice. Really weird.
Yo,
choice.
I hope Matt Smith hears this on Twitter and like goes after your ass.
I'm sure he's sitting at home, you know, surrounded by his piles of money from whatever, the Crown and what Doctor Who and everything, and he's like going on the internet and finding our channel and listening to it and being like, "What? These two random American fucks like think I'm funny looking?"
But no, interesting casting choice to say the least. And to be honest, I am looking forward to it. I know a lot of people aren't as hyped about it, but this is like a clean slate. You know, there's not a lot here. Fire and Blood is just a nice little template. They can do, you know, hopefully good stuff here. Hopefully have some writers who actually care about the material. We'll just have to see what happens. But I'm excited to have Game of Thrones back, and I think that's a majority.
And
of the news.
there are prequel series that are great. Like people say that Better Call Saul is you know, rivals Breaking Bad. From what I hear, I've only seen a little bit of it. But so it can be done. And then there's spin-offs that don't go anywhere, like Caprica and Joey. I don't
Nah, come on,
know.
Joey. You can't say Joey. Joey, that's unfair. Anything would be better than Joey. And I will say this: the other two Game of Thrones news that are kind of attached to this is they showed us what some of the dragons might look like concept art,
Yeah.
and that House of the Dragon will not be the only spin-off. They have confirmed that they will do other spin-offs later on as well. I don't know if some of them will
I
run.
mean, if Disney wants to put out 465 Star Wars shows next year, along with 700 Marvel shows, I guess HBO is going to put out, at least 2 Game of Thrones shows.
Here's the difference. HBO has a bit more pride and respect in their own lineup than other networks do. For example, AMC, they are milking the shit out of The Walking Dead, having 3 concurrent Walking Dead series. You have Fear the Walking Dead, The Walking Dead, and I think there's another third show. I forgot, the name escapes me.
Really?
Yeah, oh,
I
yeah.
had no idea that there was a third Walking Dead show.
I think it's animated. Fuck.
Oh.
I'm gonna do what you do, and I'm gonna look it up real quick. It's The Walking Dead, and then I know for a fact there's like a third spin-off they're doing. Hold on. AMC original programming. Right here.
The
So
Walking Dead World Beyond.
yes, that's what it is.
Oh my God. You're right. That's sad and pathetic. I mean, The Walking Dead is already milking The Walking Dead because it's just so fucking slow and just keeps going on and on and on. And you're just like, how far can they milk this? Oh, geez. And then,
Well, we have 3 shows and a movie coming in with Rick. So yeah, I don't think HBO is that crass. They have more respect on with their own shows and lineup to have like another Thrones show concurrently with House of the Dragon. So we're probably gonna get maybe a couple seasons of House of the Dragon, hell, maybe even 1, and then they'll go elsewhere in the world. But if they're smart, they'll follow the Disney Plus thing with Star Wars and just do a couple shows here and there. With Game of Thrones, they have the license. Fucking use it. Don't let it sit there.
yeah.
It reminds me of what is it CBS? I think it's CBS did with Star Trek for years. Like we almost went an entire 2 decades without another Star Trek show after
Right.
Enterprise.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, why not? I mean, that's the thing is we're in this world where it's very rare that people bank on new properties. Like they like something to be established. They like sequels. They like something that's been a successful thing they can reboot. If it was a successful book or a successful comic book, that's the only stuff they're going to go with. They like tried and true. It's very rare that you're going to have these, risk-taking kind of stuff going on.